all sorts of drawings today. I haven't decided what to start with, but I was doing this last night after the stream ended. So I thought I'd share this, and then we'll get onto it. Move some of this stuff out of the way. My desk is in a new orientation, and so I have to like figure out where my arms go and what I can. It doesn't feel like it should be different because it's just the other side. It's like, but it is. Hang on, let me pull up the stream so I can read the chat. Okay, come on, YouTube. That's not me. All right, yeah, so I'm doing, oh, hey, Epic. We're doing all sorts of stuff today, or we're doing, yeah, it's a free draw. So I haven't decided. This is something I drew last night after the last night's stream ended, but we're doing whatever. There we go. Now I can see the chat. Oh, is that the vibe? The vib ribbon? I didn't. No, I didn't. I haven't been doing request streams because I've been unwell, but I'm doing them. I'm doing them now. Okay, I can pull that character up. Let's do it. Okay. Yeah, I never played this game on PlayStation. The only thing I played on PlayStation was a rhythm game I played on PlayStation was Parappa the Rapper. Parappa the Rapper. It came as like a demo when I first got my PlayStation. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, let me get my glove on so I don't smudge it too much. So let's start body. So I like characters like this, like really simple but also iconic, I think. Some of the best cartoon characters. Oh my God, I saw that on the chat. I haven't been able to get on the computer, but I did get the notification on the stream. Yeah, that's so sad. We should draw some Sega stuff. Yeah, so do you know Sega and Nintendo like had some serious like actual legal battles on the streets of Nintendo. I mean, on the streets of Japan. I just called Japan Nintendo. That's great. So after we do Vibe Ribbon, we'll do that. So Vibe Ribbon, Vib Ribbon, I don't know what it's called. It looks like he's based on some vector graphics, which some really interesting vector graphic stuff. Yeah, we'll draw some Sega stuff. I guess Sonic makes sense. So one of the all-time original, very first video games was developed on an what is it called? An oscilloscope? Oscilloscope? Yeah. And you could draw lines by doing maths. And they were often used to like visualize sound waves because sound waves can be represented straight by maths. But you could program them by, I'm not sure how they were programmed actually, but you could program them. And so Asteroids was one of the first games, or a precursor. Maybe it wasn't exactly Asteroids yet. Well, it was one of the first games, and it was all black and white, and it was made by shooting a laser onto a screen. And the laser moved so fast that it looked like a solid image, which is what this character is mimicking. I It's not actually done that way because that's not how PlayStation worked. I did not mind the Virtual Boy. I only played it a handful of times. I didn't have it, but my cousin had it. I think I'm thinking of the same thing. The like original Nintendo VR, right? I did that solo. Yeah, we played like Mario Tennis and a couple of other things. I'm I'm very much not bothered by like VR or that kind of, like, I know a lot of people get motion sick and stuff. I've never had that, which is funny because I never got motion sick at all. But as I got older, I did start getting motion sick just from like weird things, like a car would be moving outside my window while I was home, and like the house was stationary, and I would get motion sick. Like I started getting motion sick from seeing motion instead of from feeling it. I've never gotten motion sick from feeling motion. And even though this was happening, I never got motion sick from VR. So I don't know what is up with me. I had a friend who got terribly motion sick in cars until she started driving. And then after she started driving, she stopped getting motion sick, even when she wasn't driving. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because they're probably using a very similar system, but instead of it being hardware, it's programmatically. Okay. Yeah, so before we pull up Sonic, I might try VibRibbon if I can get a hold of it. Man, I mean, I guess when was Sega founded? Because it's probably, I mean, like, I don't know how old the man was. I guess that's kind of what I'm asking. It's raining here, so that's nice. And do Sonic. Okay, okay, so not that old. Oh, that's when Sega was founded. Okay, so he's kind of old. Bow, 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 bow. Man, I should play Sonic today. I just got Sonic Frontiers. I've not played it, but I just got the game. It came with a bundle I got for my birthday. I'm trying to think, like, what's the move here? We want Sonic to be saying goodbye, right? Or I think we want Sonic to be saying goodbye. I want to be. I just drew a hedgehog yesterday, actually, which is kind of funny. So we can do like the standard Sonic pose from like when he's looking at the camera. I think that's good. His big attached eyes. But what are we going to do? I think the thing we have to do for that, we have to give Sonic like a sympathetic expression. Everyone still has nightmares over the eyeball cup. I put the eyeball cup. I had not been putting everything on like TeePublic or Redbubble. Um, a few years ago, I was putting lots of stuff on TeePublic and Redbubble, and I was actually seeing some financial success from that. And then I started getting a lot of my stuff stolen, and I started getting a lot of like takedown notices for stuff that was completely original. And it just, at the time, it really upset me. And so I stopped posting stuff to Redbubble or TeePublic, and then I only posted like a couple of things that were specifically requested by friends or family. And then I decided like I don't care about getting takedown notices, and like there's nothing you can do. People are going to steal your stuff if they're going to steal your stuff. So I just decided to start doing it again, and I did a live stream, my first live stream back from after being sick. I did on the computer, and I did it cleaning up the eyeball cup, and there was another drawing. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, cleaning up the eyeball cup and another drawing and posting them on TeePublic. It was the first thing I posted on TeePublic in quite a long time, like a couple of years actually. So that's there if you can't get enough of it. Let me readjust his. I want him to look very sympathetic, right? I think we have to make sure his expression isn't happy, but we don't want it to look sad either. Hey, Desert Rain Frog, Sapley, what's up? How you doing? Okay. Like we want him to look serious and sad, but not angry and not like, oh, I missed you too. Welcome back. It's been a while. Yeah, eyeball cup is great. All right. So yeah, we have to make him look kind and sad. I think we're doing a good job. Okay. And I like, so there's a couple different things that I'm thinking, right? We could have him hands clasped in prayer. I'm not thrilled with that one. We could have him waving goodbye. I'm not really thrilled with that one either. Hmm. But I can't really think of another. I think if I can't think of anything else, I'll do waving goodbye. I haven't played Deltarune yet. There's a couple. Deltarune, the one by Thor. I haven't played that one either. Wait, is Deltarune the one by Thor? No, right? It's a different one. Heartbound. I haven't played Heartbound. I don't play a lot of games. And a lot of the games I do play, I end up playing like old ones that I've already played like hundreds of hours on. Okay. How many fingers does Sonic have? 5? Crazy. Okay, Sonic waving goodbye. Ugh. Ugh. 4 fingers and a thumb. Let's see. Hands, man. hand scam me. I've drawn so many hands, and like most of the time I can make them look good, but not all the time. We could have him standing. I was thinking of putting him in the like the Sonic 1, 2, and 3 like badge thing, and then we could have that badge say something like, I don't know, in honor of, I can't remember his name right now. What the heck? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Maybe we will have him hands clasped. What? Maybe there's a Japanese hand gesture. I still can't do Discord on this setup. I I could do it before, and then I always forget to log in on because on this, let me. Okay, hang on. Let me see. Well, I can just look up his name, but gosh, like a wave feels kind of too impersonal. The clasped hands feels a little trite. So I'm struggling. What's a good hand gesture? Oh, thank you. We could do maybe him holding something. Is there like a, I'm trying to think, is there anything? I don't know Japanese culture well enough to know, like, is there like a traditional, hmm, yeah, unsure. I guess I'm doing prayer hands. Ooh, okay. I love that. Friggin' perfect. Get out of here, prayer hands. I was talking a lot about like drafts because yesterday I redrew an old drawing I had done 4 years ago. And first of all, it made me realize like it was still a hard drawing, but and I was looking at a lot of other drawings to think about what to redraw. And a lot of them are really good. I was like, I don't know if I'll even be able to draw that good. So it's really interesting how in some ways, in some areas, I've improved so much. And then in others, like whatever. But then I also realized that a lot of the drawings I was looking at, because I was just looking at my old Instagram feed, I was thinking like these were all second, third, sometimes fourth drafts. And I was like, oh man, those were what I felt really proud of. And nowadays and I was comparing it to first draft version. You know what I'm saying? So those I worked on a lot. And then today, when I was redoing them, I was just working on them once. So I was talking a lot about doing drafts of things and how, like, I would have never felt comfortable doing first drafts like live and letting everybody see my first drafts of things. Like, you guys get to see not only my first drafts, you get to see like my sketch work and like stuff even before I would consider it a draft. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I did graphic design for years before I got into, hey Carly, before I got into illustration. I always wanted to do illustration. That's like actually part of what led me down the graphic design pipeline. But I got a job doing graphic design, and I did some illustration during that, but it was few and far between. I wasn't very good. And then about 6 years ago, 4 to 6 years ago, somewhere in there, I decided like I really want to do illustration. Like it never went away. I always still wanted to do it. And so I started. And it still doesn't pay the bills, but it does earn me some money. And you got to start somewhere. I've built a portfolio more or less. I'm still working on it, but I'm building a portfolio. It's been good. Might have to, I think I made the S too big. So we make the rest of the sign bigger or redo the S? Let's make the rest of the sign bigger. I've never drawn the Sega logo before. So some straights, they all go to the same spot. I do this for lettering. I will do this like roughing it out just in literal scribbles. Yeah, so I loved Mario. I had Super Mario Brothers, first video game I ever had, first video game I ever played. And man, I really love that game. And to the point where I tried to do speed running for a little while before it was as popular as it is now. Um, and I got down to like for Mario Brothers 1, Super Mario Brothers 1, I got down to just over 6 minutes, which at the time was pretty good, put me in pretty high on the leaderboards. I mean, it's obviously forever now. And I wasn't like close to being on first or anything. I wasn't like, but it was really nice. And then the people who could do it, they kept saying like, this is something that's been a really important lesson to me. Actually, I should write this down to do a short about it. Um, I was getting faster and faster and faster to the point where I was like, oh, I'm like down at 6 minutes from, pretty high. I wonder what the record is. And I looked it up and somebody was like, oh, the record is the fastest it could ever be done. And it's 5 minutes. And like, no one will ever get faster than that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, well, if it's already gotten to the point where like it's fully beaten and it's never going to get faster, like I don't need to keep speed running. Like it's fun, but I'm not like it took me weeks to get down to 6 minutes. Like and now like I won't even ever be able to get the fastest because somebody's gotten it faster as the fast as it can ever be done. And so I stopped speed running. Dang, I think we need to make this smaller. Because where's his hand going to be? Okay, maybe we can do it. But this, let's just move it. Screw it. Let's not mess around. Let's do it right. Okay, let's try to really stick to it this time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a slightly different method where I scribble it very square and then I come back and add the bends because I think that was part of what was messing me up. Yeah, so the lesson I learned was like, oh yeah, Crash Bandicoot. I remember we got a PlayStation 1 for Christmas at my grandma's house, my Nana's house, and we had Crash Bandicoot. We played the heck out of Crash Bandicoot that day. Yeah, and the lesson was for me like because now speedrun is down under 5 minutes by quite a bit for original Mario. And like I only stopped because like they said it was done. And like that's so silly. Like don't listen to that is what my lesson is. Like it's not first of all, they don't know. And second of all, it doesn't matter. Like I could have kept going for my to just get personally better and faster. But that was something I did a lot where like gosh, I barely moved this over at all, even after erasing it and everything. Oh well. But it's the same lesson I had to learn doing illustration. Like when I first started doing illustration, a lot of stuff was bad. And it like wasn't good enough to share, it wasn't good enough to use for anything. And I just felt like, oh, like if I'm not even able to illustrate the simplest thing, then I shouldn't illustrate. But that's so dumb because you'll never get better if that's the lesson, if that's the if that's how your philosophy is about doing that kind of stuff. And so it took me a long time. Whoa, okay. My lead fell out. I think it broke. Okay. Like, it's not a crime to do things bad or to do things that are not um I don't know how to say it. Like I want to say not commercially viable, but that's the idea. Okay, we're gonna have to keep working on these letters, but it's coming together. Oh man, I should have looked up if there's an old Sega logo. First Sega logo. Violated because his sad face. The co-founder of the Sega Corporation passed away. So we're doing We're doing Sad Face Sonic. Now this one's pretty much done. Okay. I always do that. I toss myself the eraser and it just ends up on the ground. All right. You guys ever drink tea and then you finish the tea and you get so hot? It happens to me every once in a while. Hey, Jurassic. Yeah, so Crash Bandicoot. Love Crash Bandicoot. Really, really a great game. I recently learned how they programmed it, and so interesting. Like, basically, there was not enough space to display the 3D levels on the PlayStation. Like, there wasn't enough RAM, essentially. And so they couldn't even load barely any of the level into memory at once, graphical memory at once. So you couldn't, they like were really struggling on how to actually build the levels, right? The engine they were fine on, the character, the movement, all that they were good. And they could design the levels, but they couldn't actually get them to display. And so they had to figure that out. And it turned out to be a really interesting solution where constantly in so like for example for Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers on the NES, what happens is you have the level and it's the whole level, right? Gets loaded into memory. And it's they're able to do this because it's just like numbers. It's all codes and it doesn't get displayed until you get close to it. And so they sort of did something like that, where for Crash Bandicoot, as you ran forward into the 3D space, which is like not technically happening, but that's a different story. As you ran forward into the 3D space, as soon as the camera passed by an object here, it would disappear and an object up here would reappear. Or sometimes without, if it was the same, they would just move it really fast along the outside. And that saved a lot of memory, a lot of space, and a lot of like loading and unloading, which was part of the problem. By reusing the assets that you had just passed by, and by having everything as soon as you couldn't see it disappear, which is a occlusion, ambient occlusion, I think, that allowed them to run Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1. A lot of the early games for PlayStation 1 like really pushed it to its limits, which is great. It's like a lot of the time you don't get stuff like that until way late in the system's lifetime. Like if you look at Nintendo NES, Super Nintendo, or regular Nintendo Entertainment System games from like 1992 or 3, that's like towards the end of the some of the last games published, they look way better than, this is a square corner here, than some of the games from earlier on in the late 80s or mid 80s. Okay, this is not terrible. I'm not a letterer, although I've been practicing. Yeah, I've never done a DeviantArt. Um, yeah, I'll think about that for sure. I promised myself that tonight I would set up a Patreon. A few people have asked, and I can share some stuff through there, like on a free tier. I think that'd be good. Um, and then somebody asked if we could do prints and like sell prints of things that I've drawn. And we couldn't sell all of the prints, but I think we could set up something. I know you can do like kind of shops or something on Patreon, and we were thinking we could do that and sell it through there instead of through like Redbubble or something, because they take so much of like an art print you can make for relatively cheap. Um, dang, I'm still too far over here but that's okay. Yeah, an art print you can make for relatively cheap, and then you look on Redbubble and they're selling it for too much. Like, not only do I not make barely any money, but also it's too expensive for people who want it. Like, I sell art prints on the craft fairs, and like we're able to do them for a really decent price, and people buy them. And then like it's something people never buy on Redbubble because like it's not a good price. Even they're like posters. Well, I couldn't do posters at home. I don't have large format printing. I don't even know if I could get large format printing locally. But I could look into that. Posters would be fun. Does he have four? Four, yeah. One, two, three, four. Yep. Yeah, so I haven't set up a I feel like this goes like down. Well, it doesn't have to be a perfect Sonic. Yeah, so someone said doing a Patreon to sell um like art prints or postcards or stuff would make sense. And then you can distribute like videos and stuff that you don't want to do on YouTube. Yeah, and then I think we'll figure that out. That's not anytime soon, but it's definitely something I like the idea, and it's definitely something I want to do. Little tail, we're not going to see that, and then just pretty much straight little pipe legs. And then, Sonic usually has his legs like he's being a cool guy, but we'll have him just standing pretty serious for this. So we'll still do his red shoes. What does red shoes look like? Sort of really basic, right? Let me see if I can get a reference photo of his shoes. There's one, there's one. Okay, yeah, pretty basic. But yeah, I don't do a lot of voice chat at all. Um, I never have, but I think it could be fun to schedule and set up a special stream where people in the Discord or um, something can join a voice call for the stream. But yeah, I also have to organize that with OddFud because I'll need her to do some moderation and okay. I think the shoes are nice. I think the Sega logo's nice. I think his body's all right. I'll just kind of bring that in here. His body is just like a big circle, which I never realized before. Which is funny because I definitely, that's how I draw a lot of my characters. Like, so I draw Stella. You guys have seen me, if you've been around, you've seen me draw Stella. And I'll just draw her real quick. One circle, two circle, arms, connecting the body to the circle, legs, hair, ears, trunk, and then like eyes and mouth. But you see the two circles. You can do that exactly with Sonic, right? You have one circle and then a second circle a little bit beneath. And then this is his head. I think right in the middle you can do the eyes, the little nose, the spikes, ears, one ear, two ear, and then this part of the mouth. And then you have this part is just like kind of shoulders and little arms. His arms are much skinnier than Stella's, but same kind of thing. Connect the body, and then legs, also much skinnier than Stella's, but the same kind of thing. He has a little tail. Oh, I didn't do Stella's tail, but she has one. And then Stella doesn't have hands. So Sonic, you have to draw the glovey hands and stuff, but it's the same setup. A lot of cartoons and stuff are like that. There's an Irish prayer that I think might be usable here. And it says, may the wind be always at your back. The sun on your face, and may you be in heaven an hour before the devil knows you're dead. All right, so I think that could be used here because Sonic is fast. And so being in heaven an hour before the devil knows you're dead is a very Sonic thing. And like, I wonder, is there an alteration we could use for that? Okay, let's make this like clean and let's give this the clean treatment. I don't do this a lot, especially not on stream, but I think this will be really nice. I think most of Sonic is good. I think the Sega could use a little bit of a pushover. Okay. I don't have my ruler. I don't know where my ruler got to. We moved just my desk from like one side of the room to the other, and somehow I lost my ruler. It's very weird. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do, how am I going to do this? I'm going to do the eyes just as a way to lock in where I'm putting Sonic, so I know what's happening. And then I'm going to move this over and do the Sega. Nice and clean. Sega. Gosh. So I was in grade school right where the console wars were taking off. And there's a big question, like Super Nintendo or Sega. And Sega was cheaper. And I had a friend who had a Sega. And there was just some games I really loved on that, like Altered Beast and I can't think of, well, Sonic and even Echo the Dolphin. I liked that a lot. And so I asked for a Sega, and I got one. It was really nice. Hmm. How did I do this? I'm like, I'm practically redrawing the whole thing. That's fine. Let's get it. Oh, holding my breath. I don't know why I do that. Okay. Just gonna get that lined up. Does anyone have a favorite Sega game? I'm trying to think what Sega games have been made recently. Because they make a lot like, did they make Super Monkey Ball? That was a fun game. Heck? This is where I would often like redo the logo on the computer or something. But like if this was going out to a client or going on a product, that's what I would do. Just because for me, there's some stuff I can do much better sketching. Ooh, Dynamite Heady. I don't know it. Is it good? Should I look it up? Is it modern? Yeah, so there's some stuff I'm much better at on the computer and some stuff I'm much better at on paper. So when I first started learning illustration, I had to figure out if I was going to mainly learn on the computer or mainly learn on paper. And I decided to mainly learn on paper. Oh, classic. Nice. But when I learned graphic design and lettering, I did all of that on the computer, and I did that like at an office for years. And so a lot of like graphic design, photo manipulation, that kind of stuff, I still prefer to do on a graphics tablet because that's just how I learned. And a lot of illustration and stuff, a lot of drawing, most drawing, I still prefer to do on paper because again, that's how I learned. But it's funny when you're doing something like this and there's an in between. So like to get this to a final product, what I would do is I would finish what I'm doing now, maybe even ink Sonic, and then bring it into the PC, scan it in, and redo the lettering using vector graphics like an Illustrator or is it Krita? Krita? I don't know how to pronounce it. Or yeah. I just think that's interesting because like it doesn't feel like it's hugely different techniques, right? Like I'm going to use a pen on a tablet to fix the lettering later. But why can't I use a pencil on the paper to fix the lettering? I don't know. I don't know why, what the difference is. And I think about that a lot because it would be great if I had the versatility to do both. And I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it. So, whoops, I really messed that up. All right. So we've moved the slightly cleaner version of Sonic over. I always think the sketches look better, the first sketch. But we got to move the Sega over a little bit. Ironically, I think we've moved it too far this way, but I think that's still better. And now we'll get some, let's do some coloring, I think. We have cheeks, cheeky boy. I kind of feel for Sonic. Oh, Sonic's eyes are blue. I forget that. We'll do. So when you do the reflection, I always have to remember that you have to draw it bigger than you actually want it, because when you color it in or when you use the pencil to outline it, it can often shrink. And so when I try to draw it exactly the size I want it, it always ends up too small. So I just go bigger. You can always, if it is too big, you can always shrink it down. But if it's too small, you can't do anything. That's it. So you gotta. Oh. All right. I think this is pretty good. We can think about something else to draw, and I can finish this off on the computer later if I'm up for it. No, I shouldn't say. I was going to say maybe I'll do a computer stream later, but I don't think I will. The only thing I would be doing is maybe fixing up some things to do for like t-shirts or prints, like a Redbubble or TeePublic. Yeah, so rest in peace. We'll have to put his name and a thank you. What parts of Sonic are peach? He has like a peachy belly. Or what was that? You said you you built this up to where we are now. Or maybe we couldn't do it without you. No, I think you built this up to where we are now is better. Let me clean up some of these lines. Whoa. Because I'm not thrilled with this lettering still, but we gotta just accept that it is what it is. But before we do the coloring, because that'll make it much harder to do any corrections, let's just give it a cleanup as best as I can. It feels like actually it's just the G I'm hating on. Always hating on the G. Okay. Lost my pencil. Yeah, oh, so what's the story? So there's like a really interesting story about Sega. It's I'm really trying to remember it. They had an arcade game. So I think, what is it? They had an arcade game. Uh, and hmm, I can't remember. I think the Yakuza's involved. I can't find it because. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is as good as this G is going to get. We can clean up the internals if we feel like it after. Let me really get this. Okay. So I don't remember, but my best memory of it is like Sega had an arcade in like a district where they weren't supposed to, because like I guess the Yakuza ran a lot of arcades. I'll look it up. I'll look it up in a second and I'll actually tell the story because I don't want to like say something crazy because the story is crazy itself. Okay, yeah. Black nose Sonic. I wasn't sure if it was black or like brown, but we can get it in there. Yeah, one of my favorite was it Sonic 2 that had Miles. I mean Tails. I mean, I guess his name is Miles. I love that. I thought that was so freaking cool that you could play two characters, have two characters on the screen at once, and then there was like it was actually useful to have somebody playing Tails who was like halfway decent because they could grab you and like get you to different parts of the levels that you couldn't access without Tails. Yeah, I can't. I guess there's a lot of allegations of. Okay, okay, awesome. And I think it was like right outside of Sega's offices, and they were like coming and like destroying it, like busting up the place. I just went to look it up, but like there's so many stories of video game companies and Yakuza. So I guess that makes sense, right? Like video game development can be very expensive and also very rewarding if you get a hit. And at the time, generally you would make your money back depending on some things. So I could see Yakuza like putting money into there. I know there's stories of them kidnapping somebody, like someone's sister, to force them to not work with, I think it's Nintendo. But like these are all things that are said by people who are anonymous, so they don't, obviously, so they don't get in trouble. So it's hard to, so they don't say usually like what the which company it was, or that kind of thing. Okay. But yeah, sometimes you really think you know a story, and then you go to tell the story, and you just do not know. I could have sworn I knew that story. Okay. I'm nervous to do this lettering because it's been so bad, but let's get it going. This is okay. Man, S's took me so long to be able to draw. Not right. I could write an S. Although I just realized the other day that my S's and my G's look exactly the same. Oh, that's too bad. I had the Sega Dreamcast. I loved it. I wanted Sega to be so popular. I loved Sega so much as a game console development company. But like I can't there was a lot of factors that led to the Dreamcast failing. A lot of it had to do just with like timing, and some of it had to do with like over promising and under delivering, or like on timelines, not necessarily on product. I think the product was pretty awesome. But for a long time, I was hoping that Sega would get back into game consoles. Like I thought, okay, they're going to take a break after the Dreamcast. They'll let Xbox come out and they're secretly developing like a new system that they will eventually put out. But they never did. They stayed with video game development. Their games are good, don't get me wrong. Like when you see the Sega, especially for arcade style games, when I see that Sega logo come up in the intro, I'm like, yes, this is gonna be a banger. Let me sharpen this guy. Ooh, I love a good Sonic Pac-Man. I mean, I love a good Pac-Man and Sonic. So I think it's Sonic Frontiers. I heard Sonic Frontiers is one of the the better Sonic games, because there's some games, Sonic games that are bad. That's the one I just, like I said, I just got it in a bundle. I haven't installed it yet, but maybe I will because of today. Maybe I'll just go back and play Sonic and Knuckles though. God, Sonic and Knuckles, what a cool dang. Okay, one really cool thing is my neighbors across the street had a Sega, just like we all did back in the day, and they had the Sega channel, which was a cable channel that you hooked up to your Sega cartridge, and you put the cartridge into your Sega Genesis, and you could play like 100 games. It was essentially Netflix for Sega games. And it was so freaking cool. One of the coolest things in video games in the 90s at all. It's not like unique. Nintendo had done this in Japan and some other places have done it, but for the US, no way. I did not know that. That is so cool. All the ROMs from the Sega channel just got dumped for archiving and preservation. That is so dang neat. I mean, I'm gonna look some up and see if my memory is as cool as it. You know what I miss? Okay. So old Sega controllers, I think you guys might know this, but old Sega controllers, right? It didn't just have A, B, and C. They often had X, Y, and Z. And so then you have like the directionals over here, you have start select, and then you have these guys. I want more systems. Like I want more controllers to have more buttons. The game, the GameCube, no, the GameCube had a weird. There was one system in modern that had two extra buttons. But then essentially they took these two extra buttons and they put them on the bumpers or the triggers. But I want both. I've seen controllers where they do have extra buttons, but they just do the same thing as the triggers. And like even PC controllers, which theoretically could have as many buttons as you want, will just link them so you can't um, make them do whatever you want. They can only do what the trigger already does, which feels crazy, right? If I can customize what the buttons are, why are you saying except for these two, they're a repeat of these other buttons? Like why? What do you mean? Why are they a repeat of these other buttons? Like Windows controllers can have a heck of a lot of buttons. I think it's like 40 or something. So like there's no reason for you to be like, oh, these are just re-trigger buttons. It's very frustrating. I wish you could get a Sega controller with triggers and bumpers and all 6 face buttons and a start and select. I want the whole shebang. All right, let's see what this other blue is. Okay, I think this. Nah, I was thinking that pencil could be a little bit more full coverage, but I think we'll just go in a different direction and just redo it with the same one. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum. Virtua Fighter, is that a Sega game? It's one of the first arcade games that I was ever like, I need to play this. It was at the local pizza parlor, which was in the middle of nowhere. I lived like 7 miles from the nearest village, but like 2 miles from my house, there was a little pizza parlor, and like basically just in the middle of nowhere. And that pizza parlor had an arcade game, and that arcade game was Virtua Fighter. And man, we would ride our bikes up there and play Virtua Fighter for hours, getting slices of pizza and taking turns on Virtua Fighter, drinking soda, like mowing lawns to get quarters to play Virtua Fighter. Ah, what a great fighting game. All right, I'm not going to be able to get this to look nice. This pencil just doesn't want to do full coverage. I should have used a crayon. You can get good coverage with a crayon. Let's see if I can go right over it. I think it works. You can definitely get fuller coverage. I always think of Fuller because it's like a name. Like what a first name. Can you imagine your first name was Fuller? I think it's also a last name. I think a lot of things were only last names and then get turned into first names. You know, Madison was a last name, and then there was a movie with Tom Hanks, and there was a mermaid pops out of the sea and whatever, and Tom Hanks goes, "Well, what's your name?" And I think she like looks at a street sign or something, and she goes, "Madison." And he goes, "That's not a name." And that movie was very popular, and the name Madison started being used as a first name for women uh, sometime in the 80s. You can say it's like basically, not basically, it's never used for a first name until that movie came out. And it's so weird how that stuff happens. Okie dokie. It's done here. All right, not bad. Not red. Yeah, that's red enough. Oh my gosh, I feel like this red is like the exact match of the pencil. Oh, maybe not, maybe not. All right. All right, really nice. Really good to see Sonic. Sad thing, but it's what happens. Let's do a quick with the ink and then we'll draw something else before I call it a day. I think adding the ink, I've been doing this a lot lately, and something I hadn't really done. I had either done like pencil and color or I did ink. I've been doing both, and I think it's really nice. I think you can really add a dimension to the drawings, make them feel finished in a different way. I think probably because a lot of my coloring and finishing was done digitally, it didn't really occur to me to do this. And I used to do a lot of inking just totally separate from everything. I would do it like in comic books. I would just ink and then do color. And the first time I ever bought Micron, I was so weirdly nervous. I had been doing a lot of inking with like traditional methods like dip pens and brushes, but people said like you should do Micron. It's like a lot of people use Microns. It's much easier, it's cleaner, it's faster. And so I went to the art shop and I was like, do I want to use Microns? And the guy was like, I don't freaking know. Which fair. And so I asked him all these questions. And I just think it's so funny. I was like so nervous about using these instead of I just heard Oddfoot sneeze, bless you, Oddfoot. Instead of like my traditional methods. Like that doesn't. It's why not use both? A lot of illustrations, a lot of drawings, I will use both exactly for different things. Whoop. All right. Not bad. Good, even. My face is so itchy. Okay. Why can't I hold these? Okay. Oh my, like there's, oh. So my house is really uneven. You guys see me watching the stream, see in the chat. My house is really uneven, like the floors. And we moved my desk to a place, and so it's a little bit slanted. And I keep being like, why is everything falling over? But that's why. Okay. Hey, Jurassic Fine Art. Oh yeah. Um, the the co-founder of Sega passed away today or last night. So that's why. So like the fact that he looks like someone died is perfect because that's what I was going for. But we're gonna draw something else now. I don't know what. I'm just drawing circles. I was thinking maybe they're falling. Maybe there's some really far away falling. Sad dino, you got it. That's kind of what rain looks like. It's a little bit more like rain's weird. Most things I find are weird. What kind of dino? Did we do a stegosaurus? I think we did. Oh, you know what we haven't done a classic one is a triceratop. And I think a sad triceratops would be pretty good. Okay. Oh, you know, I always think of dinosaurs still. When I first think of dinosaurs, I always think about how they were presented to me when I was a kid, which is no feathers. But then, like, I know not all of them have feathers, although it seems like many or even most of them do. So now I'm curious, like, is Triceratops one that has feathers? Like, let's see. Did Triceratops have feathers? I really like that. Like, they had found some like structure and some pattern in the fossils, just like little bits like this, and they were like, that seems like where feathers might attach. We think dinosaurs probably had something feathery on them. And then they found like this kind of pattern, and they were like, okay, this looks like feathers. We think dinosaurs had feathers. And then it was still trouble, and they were like, no, look, we found pigment. We think it's feathers. And then they literally found fossilized feathers. And they're like, yes, okay, dinosaurs had feathers. Yeah, it looks like Triceratops. No evidence of feathers, but it looks like their evolutionary heritage, they did have, like, not them precisely, but others in their line had pseudo feather like things. So that's interesting. So, what I usually do with an animal is I like to watch a video of it or get a lot of photos of it from all different situations. We can't do that with Triceratops. So let's see. I was thinking, Okay. So Triceratop head kind of looks like this. And then it has the thing. So let's have it kind of looking at us. Okay, kind of like that, like that. Oh, are they beaky? And then this is where those horns are. Wait. Yeah. Oh, hi. Okay. I think we're getting there. Oh, their horns came out like this. It's much harder to do. All right, where are their eyes? Where are their eyes? Just under the horn. So this is where all my sadness is going to live for this Triceratop. So we got to get that right there. All right, I'm going to just give a quick restart on this. I like everything I did, but I'm not getting a good feel for where the animal is in space. And I need that. So we're going to do a classic sphere with the pointy lines. This is the front, this is the face, it's pointing that way. So we can give the eye here even. Which gives us this guy. I don't know what that would be called. Like this is the top of the skull. Comes down like that. Like that. Okay. Sometimes I like doing these like scribble ribbons to give myself like some three-dimensionality to work on. Because now that I can see that that's like the beak, that's the top of the head, that's where the head is shaped. Now we can come in with the bottom. All right. So horns. Oh, thanks so much. Horns. I'm trying to get this eye to be as sad as possible. I feel like a rounder eye is sadder. And then like a more sunken eye is often sadder. But it can be hard to get. Where do their freaking horns point? Do we not know? The reference photos I have them pointing all over the place. I'm just gonna do one. Now I'm back on the how to make this guy look sad. Actually, in my mind, this is a girl ceratop, a lady triceratops. All right. Dinosaurs are harder to draw, but like I said, it's mostly because I can't see like what they look like. So like getting a video of something helps tremendously because you can see like exactly what their not just what their bodies look like, but how they move and how they hold themselves and like if they make faces or um, and so I find videos to be tremendously helpful. And it doesn't help also that, you know, all of the pictures of Triceratops are already artists' renditions. So hip, knee. Wait, do they have the same ankle, toe? Yeah, I think they have the same weird setup that like horses and, dogs, everyone but us. Not everyone but us, but like so many animals have. Are they from the same? I should look that up. I think that's really interesting. Okay. It's not looking great. Let's get rid of some of these guidelines and see how it actually looks. Sometimes it's the guidelines that make it look weird. That's the worst when you think like this has happened to me a bunch where I think like, oh, this drawing is bad. I need to keep redrawing, and I keep redrawing, and then I'm like, well, what does it look like without the guidelines? And then I get rid of the guidelines, and I'm like, oh, it looks totally fine. I'm dumb. Okay. I think So I had her body going like straight off this way. I don't think that's right. I think it needed to be going back in space. So I'm just gonna kind of do that. There we go. That means this leg is going to be much more out. And this one also is going to like exist on the side of the body. This one is going to be much more forward. On this one, same. We're going to not really be able to see this one, but it's going to be there. The tail. That's fine. Okay. All right. This back horn. There, yeah. This back horn I have. The front one is kind of like leans in, and the back one leaned back. So I'm going to make this back one lean in a little to match the front one because I like the way the front one looks. There we go. That looks much more correct, composed, even. Yes. Oh man, I was just now. Did dinosaur? You know how some animals don't have any eye, like iris, that's just all black or all iris or all pupil or whatever? And then some animals, they don't have whites. You know how some animals don't have whites of their eyes? And a couple animals, including humans, do. Now I'm curious, did dinosaurs have whites in their eyes? I mean, did some of them? I wonder if we know. Is it knowable even? Would we have to find like an entirely fossilized eye? I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to shape the face a little. Some shading like this. I think we got a sad dino. There's still something not quite right. Yeah, let's do that. Let's move this. Maybe I don't have my back legs as far forward as they should be. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I don't, there's something off, but I can't tell what it is. Which means tomorrow I'll come look at it and it'll be like, wah, 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 you made a big mistake. Because that's what it's like. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for being here. We said we had Sonic say goodbye. We did a slightly sad dino. I think the dino is sad. I think it's a slightly accurate dino. And we did these raindrops. Whoop. They're falling up. Oops. All right. Catch me tomorrow, and yeah. Thanks. Bye.